Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome co-founder Cayuga Sustainable Hospitality, Andrea Bonilla.
We're the Cayuga Collection, a group of award-winning, sustainable luxury hotels and lodges in Costa Rica and Nicaragua. We're tucked away in the most incredible places. Our hotels and lodges are dotted all along the Pacific coast of Costa Rica, from the wild Osa Peninsula in the south to Guanacaste in the north, and right up to Nicaragua. Each one unique, each one committed to protect and preserve the surrounding communities and ecosystems. Our mission is to find the perfect symbiosis of sustainability and luxury. We proudly buy local, employ local, and run programs to help our schools and communities.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. I am very honored to have been invited, very nervous as well. I usually do most of the training, and I like to call myself the back of the house person that's with our local staff. So it is an honor. It's a great opportunity. I'm very excited. I was asked by Skift to talk to you about our eco-lodge owner's dilemma and how we were able to solve it. So I'll tell you stories about how we got to where we are today, and I'll do that by starting to tell you about the first property that we managed. This was 20 years ago, and a couple from Minnesota had a 15-bungalow eco-lodge in the middle of the rainforest in Costa Rica, and they wanted to sell the property. But their problem was that they were the only ones that knew how to run this place. They didn't understand much about numbers. They had a great local staff, but they had no formal education. They also had great service, but no standardized procedures. And on top of that, this was a really hard place to access. And when I say hard to access, it means that you had to cross 4 rivers to get there. There was no internet, and you basically had to hang from a branch of the tree if you wanted to make a phone call. So when we got there, we said, okay, well, how can we help? And this is how my business partner, Hans, who's sitting right there, and I started our business of managing boutique, luxury, and sustainable eco-lodges. And the thing is, we have 3 different sets of people. We have our owners or investors who are usually very idealistic, visionary people. They want to invest in the local community. They want to do something very different that they've dreamt about for years sometimes. We then have our staff, and 94 to 95% of our staff is from the local community. And that means local rural communities in Costa Rica, in Nicaragua, and in Panama. So our staff is usually not very well educated or doesn't have access to formal education. They are people that sometimes have been hunters, and we're talking about preserving the forest. There's people that sometimes have been in contact with drugs, because sometimes our beaches are bridges for that. And now we have to combine those two to be able to give service to guests that are expecting a really good luxury service. And our guests are world travelers, they're world leaders in what they do, and they're very well informed. So how do we do that? What we do is we basically have different stepping stones, and I chose these 8 initiatives that have really helped us to achieve to solve the eco-lodge owner's dilemma. And what we have found, and what we found from the beginning, and this might sound a little trite, but we have found that it's all about people. And I'm happy to have sat here through yesterday and today, and to have listened to a lot of people talk about that, because it is about people. It is about our owners and our clients and our guests and our staff. It is about making sure that we transform people's lives. It is about making sure that we all have a better community to live in. It is about making sure that we all grow and that we all develop into the best version that we can be. So 13 years ago, we met a couple from New York, and they had bought a lot of land in the North Pacific of Costa Rica. And the reason why they had purchased this land was because they didn't want any high-rises popping up in the middle of the beach. So they hired us and they said, we want to work with you, but we want you to understand that our vision is to transform people's lives. We want to make sure that we transform the community we're in and that we do this right. So last week I'm there and one of our drivers, Randall, says that he had the funniest story happen to him. He picked up one of our guests at the airport and he said, sir, would you like something to drink? And the guest said, just drive. So Randall drives for half an hour and then he says, sir, I'm sorry, but would you like to make a stop? And the guest says, just drive. So Randall keeps driving and he dares half an hour later to ask again. And the guest said, just drive. So he drives, drops him off. 3 days later, he had to pick him up. And the guest comes up to him and says, Randall, I am so sorry, I have to apologize. I have had the most transformative experiences here. And with that story, I understand that we're actually being congruent with what our owners want. That our manager, Marianela, in the property is really setting those values straight and that she has a clear vision of where she's going and where our team needs to go. But once we've done that, we also need to make sure that we're planting the right seeds. And by that, I mean that we need to make sure that we have the right people in the right places. This picture here is one of our properties in the Central Pacific of Costa Rica. And Rodbing, our operations manager, has been with us for over 15 years. He started as our driver doing our construction, and he is now operations manager. He leads over 110 staff members. This is a property that has a rack rate that goes from $600 up to $2,000 a night. So he has understood how to combine luxury and how to align our expectations and our owners' expectations with those of our guests. And in this way, what we have done is we've invested in somebody who's local, we've really trained him, and he then plants more seeds because he then trains and develops the team under him. And from there, we are actually moving different keys and different people into different properties that have helped us with the rest of our management properties. When I was preparing for this presentation, I actually asked my managers, I said, look, what can I talk about? What would you talk about? How's my management style? What has helped us from where we started to where we are? And one of them said, look, you're very good at looking at the forest and not forgetting about the trees. And I was like, what do you mean by that? So then I found out that what he meant is that we're very good at looking at the bigger strategy without forgetting the place we're working with. So we're good at thinking about our management company and thinking about the different places that we're managing, but we never forget the soul of each property that we're working with. So this property you see here is in the cloud forest in Costa Rica. And what we did is that we created a sense of place for it that's completely different. It's the rare tree in the cloud forest. It's a place that has a really clean design. It's a place where experiences are being curated. It's a place where our managers, Rolando and Aldair, who came in from other properties, were able to also think about goals, think about strategy, and align them with our staff. So in 2 years, it's a 28-room property, and in 2 years, we're going to have a sustainable break-even, which means that the owners are going to start seeing benefit of this property. Usually it takes up to 3 to 4 years for that to happen in 100-room hotels. And then what you see here is a great edible mandala. This is Melina's work of art. Because what we've come to understand is that it's not only about aligning goals and visions and being in great places and making sure that we have the right people, but it's also creating awareness. Who are we? Why are we here? Why is our staff working for us? Why do they want to be there? Is their why aligning with us? Is their why about people, about service, about community, about environment? When guests come to Quincara, it's a special place in the mountain of Costa Rica, our staff needs to be able to show them that the luxury they're receiving there is not about things. It is about people. It is about connecting with the land. It is about learning new ways of connecting with what's the environment around you. It's about connecting with each other. It's about creating empathy. And in that way, it is about creating a unique vision for everybody. Everybody wants to be working towards the same goals. And now that we have all that said, we need to make sure we retain our staff. We have, in Latitude 10, in Santa Teresa in Costa Rica. It's our tiny hotel, it's 6 rooms. It's a challenge to retain staff. Our rotation is 15%. So we're pretty good at that. And how do we do that? Our manager, Jennifer, really empowers our people, our local people. So Didier, who's one of our youngest staff members, is now the leader of maintenance and housekeeping. And Francini, who was our housekeeper, is now our sous chef. So she invests a lot of time in making sure that our staff is learning and that they're teaching them the right skills, but also that things are being measured and performance is measured, and that everybody understands how their day-to-day impacts our performance. But then you have all of this supposedly under control, and unexpected things happen. And talking about motivation from the previous slide, we do this event called Cayuga Week. We do it once a year, where we bring all our leaders from Nicaragua, Panama, and Costa Rica together. We had 100 people about 2 weeks ago together. And I'm having lunch with Francis, and Francis is from Panama. This picture is from our lodge in Panama. Francis is one of the first ones to have lived in the island, and he's telling me that a month ago when we had a thunderstorm, he knew the thunderstorm was coming to the island because the wind was blowing in the wrong direction. Can I see a raise of hands as to how many people would have heard him and actually paid attention to Francis? That's what I figured. Well, luckily, Patricia, our general manager, does understand the importance of hiring local and listening to them, because that is how we can prepare for the unexpected. That is how we can make sure that our guests are safe, that our staff is safe, and that we both combine in a safe environment. Because being sustainable and being in a luxurious place means that you feel safe and that you're taking care of the environment and that you're treading nicely through it and not putting it in danger or putting yourself in danger. We also like to aim high. So I always tell our staff, look, créansela, which means believe in yourselves. Believe that you are actually playing in the Champions League. You're not just playing soccer in the field outside. We are about luxury. Our rates in Cura, which is in the Central Pacific of Costa Rica, go from $1,000 to $2,000 a night. So this is luxury. It's just a very different kind of luxury. It's 8 rooms. We do have a 28% GOP. And we also offer the best quality luxury that we can through service, through our local staff. We even had one of our staff members bring milk for a guest from his goat because the guest wanted goat milk. So that's as personalized as we will go. And last but not least, we have learned to be brave. This is a picture of a little girl in Nicaragua dancing. And some of you might know that about a year and a half ago, Nicaragua went through an uphill with the government. And so most of the businesses actually closed. But last November, along with Karen, the owner, we decided to reopen the property and take a risk. And Howard, our general manager, and our team have been doing an amazing job at this. And they have been really pleasing. Our guests are super nice, super excited. They have 90% satisfaction rates, but we're missing people. But in the end, we have learned to let go and to really learn how to keep moving forward, focusing and investing on our people. So now we don't see the property here that we started off 20 years ago because it's finally sold. And it's sold to the right people for the right price. You do see another property up in the Caribbean, which is our new property. And the only way that we have been able to do this is through people, training them, choosing the right people, making sure the right people are in the right place, making sure that we all have a common vision, making sure that the strategy is clear, that everybody understands why they are working for us, that we all take risks and are brave about it. So with this, I really want to encourage each one here. We all depend on the people. We all depend on the places where we operate. We all depend on travel, right? So let's all include in our agendas, in our strategies, in our vision, working more with them. Let's train them. Let's take care of the environment. Let's take care of the people that are with us. They are the ones that are making things happen. Thank you very much.